Hello friends, welcome to Prashant IAS. So friends, in the last class, we have started our discussion with the preamble of our constitution. And till now, we have discussed about the aspirations of people. And in this lecture, we will continue our discussion with the ideals of our constitution. So friends, what are the ideals of our constitution which are given in the preamble of our constitution? So they are sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republic. Okay, so what are the ideals of our constitution? They are sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic. So friends, in this lecture, we will discuss about these ideals one by one in detail. So friends, let's begin with sovereignty. So what is sovereignty? So I have also explained you the meaning of sovereignty in previous classes. So in this class, again I will explain you the meaning of sovereignty. So what is sovereignty? Sovereignty means that country's government is totally independent regarding its own decision making and does not acknowledge any other power supreme with respect to the governance of the country either within its boundary or externally. Now what does it mean? So it means that Indian government is sovereign. It means that India is sovereign or Indian government is sovereign. So friends, what do I mean when I say that Indian government is sovereign? So it means that the government of India is supreme in its territory. Government of India is supreme in its own territory, in the territory of India. Okay, so government of India is supreme in the territory of India. And no one is more powerful than the government of India in the territory of India. No one is superior to the government of India in the territory of India. So who is supreme, who is superior in the territory of India? Government of India is the supreme authority present in the territory of India. Now it means that government of India is independent in its decision making internally as well as externally. Means government of India is independent to take its decisions. No internal power or no external power can interfere in the decision making of government of India. So government of India is independent to take its decisions internally as well as government of India is independent to take its decisions externally. Okay? Means no external power can interfere in the decision making of government of India. Similarly, no internal power can interfere in the decision making of government of India. So friends, India is sovereign externally as well as internally. So I will give you one example to explain you the meaning of external sovereignty and internal sovereignty. So what is the meaning of external sovereignty? So external sovereignty means the government of India is independent to take its decisions externally. Means no external power can interfere in the decision making of government of India. So friends, for example, we know that USA or America is a superpower. America is a very powerful country. Then also American government cannot interfere in the decision making of Indian government. Indian government is independent to take its external decisions. Indian government is independent to declare war. Indian government is independent to do treaty. Indian government is independent to make alliance with any other country. Okay, so Indian government is independent in its foreign policy. Okay, so Indian government is independent in its external decision making. Even America is a superpower. Then also the government of America cannot dictate the government of India to take certain decisions or to not take certain decisions. Okay, so it means that the government of India is sovereign externally. Even though America is a very powerful country, then also American government has no authority. American government has no power to interfere in the decision making of Indian government. If Indian government wants, Indian government can declare war with any other country. If Indian government wants, Indian government can sign a treaty or any foreign policy with any other country. Okay. Now friends, what is the meaning of internal sovereignty? So internal sovereignty means when government of India is independent in its decision making internally. Means no internal power can interfere in the decision making of Government of India. Okay, so I will give one example to explain you this concept more clearly. So friends, you all must have listened about very famous Sabrimala case. So what happened in Sabrimala case? That temple authority made the law that women are not allowed inside the premises of the temple. Okay, why? Because according to the temple authorities, women were impure. So, on the basis of their impurity, what they did, they prohibited the women from entering into the temple premises. Okay, then what happened? That a case was filed in Supreme Court. And what Supreme Court said? So, Supreme Court gave his decision, and Supreme Court said this practice is null and void. This practice, this law of temple is null and void. So, women should be given entry in the premises of the temple. Okay, this practice followed by the temple authorities is violative of many articles of the Indian Constitution. For example, this practice was violative of Article 14 because it was violating right to equality. They were treating men and women unequally. It was violative of Article 15. Why? Because it was discriminating against women. And Article 15 prohibits any kind of discrimination in the territory of India. Okay, similarly, it was violative of Article 21. Why? Because according to the Supreme Court of India, Article 21 does not only guarantees life, it guarantees a dignified life. Okay, so a life which is not dignified has no meaning. So according to the Supreme Court of India, a man or a woman means a human being should live a dignified life. And if you are stopping someone by saying that you are impure, then what you are doing, you are hurting his dignity. You are hurting her dignity. Okay, so it was also violative of Article 21. Moreover, it was practicing untouchability, and untouchability is again prohibited by our constitution. So it was actually violating many provisions of our constitution, and on the basis of this, what Supreme Court did? Supreme Court declared that practice null and void. And Supreme Court ordered that women should be given entry in the premises of the temple. Okay, so in a way we can say Supreme Court made a new law. Okay, so order of Supreme Court is also a kind of law. So Supreme Court made a new law that now women will be given entry in the premises of the temple. Okay, so on the one hand there was the law of temple that women are not allowed inside the premises of the temple, and on the other hand there was the law of Supreme Court, the order of Supreme Court, that women should be given entry inside the premises of the temple. Okay, so now whose law will prevail? So definitely the law of Supreme Court will prevail. Okay, so law of Supreme Court prevailed and women got entry inside the temple premises. Why? Because what is Supreme Court? Supreme Court is the judicial organ of the government. So what is Supreme Court? Supreme Court is actually government. And who is sovereign? Government is sovereign. So whose decision will prevail? Government's decision will prevail. And what is Supreme Court? Supreme Court is the judicial organ of the government, and that's why Supreme Court is also sovereign. So whose decision prevailed? Supreme Court's decision prevailed. Okay, so this is the meaning of sovereignty. Means country's government is independent in its decision making. No one can interfere in the decision making of the country's government internally as well as externally. Now friends, let's move to the second ideal. So the second ideal given in the preamble is secularism. So what is secularism? So secularism means that state does not recognize any specific religion as its official religion. Okay. So what is the meaning of secularism? So secularism means that state does not recognize any specific religion as its official religion. Now what does it mean? So friends, now I will ask one question from you. Do you know, is there any official religion of India? Okay, so I will ask, what is the official religion of India? So you will say, sir, no, there is no official religion of India. So secularism means if there is no official religion of any state, so India has no official religion. That's why India is secular. But if I will ask you that, my dear students, please tell me what is the official religion of Pakistan, then you will say, sir, Islam is the official religion of Pakistan. So there is one particular official religion of Pakistan, and that is Islam. So Islam is a religious country. Okay, but what is the case with India? So in India, there is no official religion. There is no religion of the state. State does not recognize any specific religion as its official religion. Okay, so there is no official religion of India. So as there is no official religion of India, so India is a secular country. So what is the basic meaning of secularism? So the basic meaning of secularism means state has no religion. State does not recognize any religion as its official religion. So there is no official religion. Now friends, the way secularism is practiced in India and West is bit different. Now what does it mean? So it means that the way secularism is practiced in India and the Western countries. Western countries means, for example, USA, United States of America. So how secularism is practiced in India and Western countries is a different thing. Okay, so USA practices or other Western countries practices secularism differently, and in India secularism is practiced differently. So what is this difference? So first of all, I will teach you about the practice of secularism in Western countries. Then we will see that how the secularism is practiced in India, and then we will try to understand that what is the difference between the two. So friends, Western countries practice secularism by keeping the state away from church. So church means any religious place. Church means any religion. Okay. So Western countries practice secularism by keeping the state away from church. What does it mean? It means that state is away from all the religions. State means the government of the state. Okay, why? Because government is the concrete manifestation of the state. What is a state? State is an abstract idea. So government is a concrete manifestation of a state. So the government of the state means the government of America is away from all the religions. What does it mean? It means that state takes decision on the basis of objective value of the decision, not inspired by religion all or one. Okay, means if state has to take some decision, then state will take that decision not inspired by the sentiments of any religion. Okay, so suppose if state has to take any decision, suppose the government of America has to take any decision, then the government will not consider the sentiments or emotion of any religion, whether it is Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, Buddhism, Jainism, etc. Okay, so if any decision has to be taken, then the government of the state will not consider the sentiments or emotion of any religion. Okay, and government will only consider the interest of the state and the interest of the people of the state. Okay, so what is the meaning that secularism is practiced by keeping the state away from church? So it means that government is away from all the religions. Now what does it mean? So it means that if government has to take any decision, then government will not consider the emotions or sentiments of any religion, and government will only consider the interest of country as well as the interest of people. Okay, now to explain it to you more clearly, I will give you an example, because I know some student are finding it difficult to understand. So friends, suppose we are considering the case of America. Why? Because America is the perfect example of a Western country. So suppose there is a vacant ground. There is a very big vacant ground, a plot in any city of America. Okay, so there is a very big ground in any city of America. Now friends, suppose the people of Buddhism, okay, so Buddhist people are demanding that, sir, please construct our Bihar here. So what is a Bihar? Bihar is a religious place of Buddhism. Bihar is a religious place of Buddhist people. We will study about it detail in our art and culture class. Okay, so what is Bihar? Bihar is a religious place of Buddhist. So Buddhist people are demanding that, sir, please construct our Bihar for our Buddhist monks. Now on the other hand, the people of Christian community, they are demanding that, sir, no sir, please construct our church here. Now suppose on the other hand, the people of Hinduism, people of Hindu community, they are demanding that, no sir, please construct a temple here. And the people of Islam community are demanding that, no sir, please construct a mosque here. Then what government will do? then government will not listen to any of the religion. Why? Because government is away from all the religions. Government will not consider the emotions or sentiments of any of the religion, and government will not listen to any of the religion. So government will not construct Bihar, government will not construct temple, mosque, church. Government will not construct anything. What government will consider? Government will consider the interest of the people of America, the interest of America. So what government will construct? Government will construct a hospital for the people who are poor. Okay, so government will construct a hospital for poor people. Okay, or government can construct a good university. Government can construct a school for providing education to people who cannot afford it. Okay, so this is the meaning of the secularism practiced in Western countries. So how secularism is practiced in Western countries? That state will not consider the emotions or sentiments of any religion, and state is away from all the religions. State will only consider the interest of country and the interest of people. So what they will construct? They will construct a hospital so that the people who cannot afford the healthcare facilities, they can be treated there. It means that state is equally distant from all the religions. Okay, so state maintains equal distance from all the religions. None of the religion is favorite to the state. Okay, so state maintains equal distance from all the religions, that I have nothing to do with any of the religion. I have to only do something with the interest of my country and interest of my people. I have to do nothing with the interest of any religion. So this is the practice in Western countries. So friends, now I will tell you how secularism is practiced in India. So what happens in India? That state is equally close to all the religions that have made India their home. So what was happening in Western countries? That state was equally away from all the religions. But in India, state is equally close to all the religions. Okay, so none of the religion is favorite of the government of India. None of the religion is favorite of the state. But all the religions are equal for the state. Okay, all the religions are equal for the state, but all the religions are equally close to the state. Now what does it mean? So it means that administrative decisions also accommodate their sentiments and the interest of all the religions. Okay, now what does it mean? It means that if government of India has to take some decision, okay, if government of India has to take certain decision, then government will consider the sentiments or emotion of all the religions present in the territory of India. Okay, suppose the government has to consider, suppose government has to take some decision, then government will take into consideration the interest of Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, Jainism, okay, and all other religions. Okay, so how secularism is practiced in India? So in India, what happens? That all the states are equal to the state. Okay, all the religions are equal to the state. All the religions are equal in front of the state, but the government is equally close to all the religions. So what was happening in Western countries? In Western countries, state was equally away from all the religions. State was equally far from all the religions. But in India, state is equally close to all the religions. So if any administrative decision is to be taken, then what government will do? Government will take into consideration the sentiments or emotion of all the religions. For example, let us imagine the same situation in India. Suppose there is a vacant ground. Okay, suppose there is a vacant ground, and what happens? That now the people of Hindu community are demanding that, sir, please construct a temple. Islam people are demanding that, sir, please construct a mosque. Sikhs are demanding that, sir, please construct a gurudwara. Christians are demanding that, sir, please construct a church. Okay, and so on. Then what government will do? Now government will not ignore the sentiments of the religion. Government will take into consideration the sentiments and emotions of all the religions. Now government will see that which community is present more in number here. Okay, so government will see whose population is more, whether the population of Hindus is more, whether the population of Muslims is more, or Sikhs is more, or Christians is more. Okay, so government will consider the emotion of all the communities. Now government will see that whose population is more in number. After that, government will see that whether there is already a mosque in the area, whether there is already a temple in the area, okay, and whether there is already a church in the area, okay. So if after all this analysis, government finds that, suppose that Christian community is more in number, okay. For example, suppose that government finds this Christians community is more in number, and already there is a temple, there is a mosque, but there is no church, then government will build a church, okay. So it means that in India, if any administrative decision has to be taken, then what will happen, that then government will consider the emotions and sentiments of all the religions. So friends, this was just an example, okay, this was just an example to explain you, okay. I am not saying this happened in real life or this can happen in real life. This is just an example to explain you. This is not the actual procedure, okay. So actual procedure is a bit different, but it is a simplified procedure to explain you the concept, okay. Now friends, thus what we can conclude, thus we can conclude that India is neither religious. So why India is not religious? So religious country is the one which declares any one religion as its official religion. For example, Pakistan is a religious country, so Islam is the official religion of Pakistan. So there is no official religion of India, that's why India is not a religious country. After that, India is not irreligious. So what is irreligious? So India is not irreligious. So what is the meaning of irreligious? So irreligious means, for example, America was a irreligious country, okay. So irreligious means when state has nothing to do with the religion, okay, when state is away from all the religions, okay. So when state will not consider the emotions or sentiments of any religion by taking the decisions. So irreligious means when you are away from all the religions, when you have to nothing to do with any religion. So India is not irreligious. Now friends, India is also not anti-religious. So what is anti-religious? Anti-religious means when you are against the religion, okay. So when you are against the religion, for example, if in your country people are believing in certain religion, if people are believing in certain religion, and if people are worshipping some god, then the government is punishing those people, then the government is killing those people, okay. So anti-religious means you are against the religion, that you will not allow any religion to survive on your land. So irreligious is different and anti-religious is different. So irreligious means you are neutral toward all the religions. If people are following any decision, you have nothing to do with them, okay, you can follow, okay, but you will not support or discourage them, okay. So irreligious means when you are neutral toward all the religions, you are away from all the religions, you have nothing to do with all the religions. But anti-religious means when you are against the religion, when you hate the religion, okay. So anti sentiment is a hated sentiment. So anti-religion means when you hate the religion, means when you kill the people who follow the religion, when you punish the people who follow the religion. But so India is not religious, India is not irreligious, India is not anti-religious. So what is India? India is non-religious in nature. So the nature of Indian government can be called as non-religious, okay. So what is India? India is non-religious in nature, means we are equal to all the religions, but we are equally close to all the religions, okay. So there is no one religion as our official religion, so we do not have any official religion, but we are equally close to all the religions. So this means we are non-religious in nature, okay. Now friends, though neither India nor West identifies with any specific religion as their official religion, okay, and thus they are secular. So neither India nor West identify with any religion as their official religion, and thus they are secular, okay. So what does it mean? So it means that there is no single official religion of India. Similarly, there is no single official religion of America and other Western countries, and this is the reason why Western countries and India are secular, okay. So India is secular as well as Western countries are secular. Why? Because there is no official religion of India as well as the other Western countries. Now friends, what is a religious country? So religious country is the country which relate with one specific religion, okay. So religious country means they relate with one specific religion, okay. So what is a religious country? So religious country is the country which has one official religion. They relate with one specific religion. Okay, now what does it mean? So it means that state will take decisions keeping in mind the sentiment of its official religion. For example, we know that in Saudi Arabia, the official religion of Saudi Arabia is Islam. Similarly, the official religion of Pakistan is Islam. The official religion of Ireland is Christianity. The official religion of Vatican City is Christianity. So now suppose friends, if any decision is to be taken in Saudi Arabia, okay, so if any government decision is to be taken in Saudi Arabia, then they will take the decision only by keeping in mind the sentiments of Islam. Okay, so they will not consider the sentiments and emotions of Hinduism, Christianity, Jainism, Buddhism. Okay, they will only consider the sentiments and emotions of Islam, and by keeping in mind the sentiments of Islam, they will take their administrative decisions. Okay, so religious country means a country which has one official religion, and all the decisions of the government are taken by keeping in mind the interest and sentiments and emotions of only one religion. Okay, for example, Islam is the official religion of Saudi Arabia, so the government of Saudi Arabia will take all its decision according to Islam. Okay, now friends, let's move to the next ideal. So the next ideal is socialism. Now what is socialism? So the aim of socialism is that the resources of society must benefit everybody. All must have access to the resources of state. Now what does it mean? It means that suppose we know that there are many resources in our country India. Okay, so India is a vast country and there are many resources in our country. So what are resources? So the actual definition of the resources very wide. Okay, so here I will give you a very little definition, a very little meaning in order to explain you. So for example, gold is a resource, coal is a resource. Okay, water is a resource, electricity is a resource. So resource means something which has its utility. Okay, so resource, what is resource? So resource is something which has its utility. You can utilize it. Okay, and you can do your development. So this is not the actual definition of resource. I am just giving this definition in order to explain you. So what is resource? Resource means which has some utility. You can use it for any purpose. You can use it to do your development. So for example, friends, water is a resource. Okay, so for example, we know that water is a resource. Okay, and for example, we know that there are many rivers in our country. So it should not happen that only one person has the ownership of the entire water of the river. So one person or a group of persons should not have the ownership. A single person or a very little group should not have the ownership over entire river. If there is water in river, then that water must reach to every person. Then that water must benefit to every person. Okay, that water must reach to the house of every man. Okay, so suppose there is a river and there is water in that river, and we know that water is a resource. So this should not happen that this water or this river is possessed or owned by a single person or a single group. If there is water in the river and water is a resource, so this water should reach to everyone. This water should reach to every home. Everyone should have access to this water, because water is a very important resource. We cannot live without water. Everyone needs water for drinking and many other purposes. Okay. So friends, I have also given you, this is the one example. I will also give you one more example to explain you it more clearly. So suppose friends, there is a country and there are only 100 people in a country. Okay, so there is a country and there are only 100 people in a country, and there are only 100 coins in a country. So I have also told you that money is also a resource, because you can buy anything from money. Okay, so money is also a resource. So there are 100 people in a country and only 100 coins in a country. So now socialism is a system where each person will receive one coin. So these coins will be distributed in equal proportion. Each person will receive one coin. 100 coins, so each person will receive one coin. So this is socialism. Means there is a equitable and justified distribution of resources. Okay, so the aim of socialism is that resources of the society must benefit everybody. Okay, so if there are some resources in the society, so these resources should be used for the benefit of every person living in the society, every man living in the country. Okay, so if there are 100 persons in a country and 100 coins in a country, so each person should receive one coin. Okay, this should not happen that all the coins are owned by one person, all the coins are possessed by one person. All persons should receive one coin. Each man should receive one coin. So this is socialism. Now friends, socialism ensures that nobody exploits the resources of the society and becomes rich at the cost of others. Now what does it mean? It means that in socialism what happens, that no person of the country is allowed to use all the resources. Okay, and by utilizing these resources he becomes rich. So when he will utilize all the resources and he will become rich, so no resources will be left and others will become poor. So this is not allowed in socialism. Okay, so in socialism no person of the country is allowed to exploit all the resources, to use all the resources. Suppose if there is a coal mine, okay, suppose if there is a coal mine, so this coal mine should not be owned by a single person and he should not sell electricity and earn money. Okay, so this coal mine should be owned by the government. Why? Because government is the representative of all the people. So this coal mine should be represented by either all the people of the country or either by the government of the country. Okay, and by selling the electricity, government will earn money and then government will use that money for the welfare of all the peoples of the country. Okay, so socialism ensures that socialism ensures that nobody exploit all the resources of society and he becomes rich by making the others poor. Now friends, what happens in India? So friends, in India, the socialism is bit different from the socialism practiced in rest of the world. For example, we can see the example of former USSR. So how socialism was practiced in former USSR? Former USSR means when USSR was not disintegrated. Okay, so what happened in former USSR? That all the resources of the society were owned by government. Why? Because what is government? Government is the representative of the people. Okay, so socialism means there should be the ownership of entire society over the resources of society. And what is government? Government is the representative of people, means entire society. So all the resources of the country were owned by the government, and all the companies were in the hand of government, means there were no private companies. For example, today we know that there are many private companies in India. So at that point of time, there was no private company in USSR. All the companies were government owned company. Okay, so what government was doing? Government was utilizing the resources. For example, there is a coal mine, so government will extract the coal, government will make the electricity, and that government will distribute the electricity, government will take the money, and then again government will use this money for the welfare of people. So all the resources of the country were owned by the government. Government was doing all the trade, government was doing all the business, and there was no private company, no private ownership was allowed. Okay, only government was the owner. But friends, what happens in India, that we do not follow this model of socialism. In India, we follow the democratic socialism or Fabian socialism. So democratic socialism or Fabian socialism are the same thing. So what is the meaning of democratic socialism? So democratic socialism means no complete nationalization. Okay, so nationalization means when all the companies are owned by government. There is no private owned company. There is no private property. Who is the owner of all the property? Government is the owner of all the property of the country. So this is the meaning of complete nationalization. So in India, there is no complete nationalization. Means all the property of India does not belong to government. All the companies does not belong to government. Okay. For example, in India, we have government owned companies. Similarly, we also have private owned companies. So there are government owned companies as well as there are private companies. That's why our economy is a mixed economy. Means certain companies, some companies are nationalized, means some companies are government owned companies. For example, BSNL is a government owned company. SAIL is a government owned company. BHEL is a government owned company. OIL is a government owned company. So government also do trade. Government also do business. And by earning money, government utilize this money for the welfare of people. But friends, on the other hand, in India, there are private companies also. For example, Reliance Jio is a private company. Reliance Petroleum is a private company. Tata is a private company. Okay, so there are many private companies in India. So these private people are also allowed to earn money. And what happens that there is a system of progressive taxation in India. So progressive taxation means if you earn more, then you have to pay more tax to the government. So government allows the private individual to earn money. Okay, government allows the private individuals to earn money by doing trade business, by opening their company. But if your income is more, then government will charge more income tax from you. Then you have to pay more money to the government, and then government will utilize this money for the welfare of people. So this is a mixed economy. Okay, so now you will ask that, sir, some companies are privately owned, some companies are government owned, then how the welfare of people is ensured? Okay, why? What is the main aim of socialism? The main of aim of socialism is the welfare of people. Means the resources of the society should be distributed equitably. All must get benefit from the resources of society. So now what happens in any democratic socialism or Fabian socialism? That, friends, it is the duty of the government to make welfaric rules and laws. It is the duty of the government to take care of the poor section of the society. It is the duty of the government to take care that nobody earns the money by making others poor. Okay, so it is the duty of the government in any democratic socialism or Fabian socialism to make welfaric rules and laws to take care of the poor section of the society. So I will give you example to explain this. For example, we know that in India, private companies are allowed. Okay, so private individuals are allowed to earn money. Okay, now these private individuals have to pay tax to the government. Okay, and if your income is more, then you have to pay more tax. If your income will increase further, then you have to pay more tax. You have to pay even more tax. Means as your income will rise, government will charge more income tax from you. So government is earning money through income tax. If you are doing a trade, if you have a big company, then you have to pay corporate tax to the government. So government is earning money through corporate tax. Now government also do business. For example, BSNL is a government owned company. BHEL is a government owned company. So government is also earning money by doing trade. Now friends, government will utilize all this money for the welfare of poor section of the society. For example, government will open hospitals. So people who cannot afford the healthcare facilities on their own, they can go to government hospital and they can get the treatment for free of cost. Government will open the educational institutes, schools, colleges, universities. So people who cannot afford the education on their own because they are poor, so they can go into the government schools, government universities, and it is the responsibility of the government to provide them education. It is the responsibility of the government to provide us good roads. It is the responsibility of the government to provide us clean and neat water. Okay, so this is democratic socialism or Fabian socialism, where government takes care of the poor section of the society. Okay, government also do business, private company also do business. Government also has companies, private companies are also allowed. But government charges a good amount of money from private companies, and then government utilizes this money for the welfare of poor section of the society. So this is the Indian socialism. Now friends, then comes democracy. So what is democracy? So democracy is that situation where decisions are made by people directly or indirectly through their representatives. So friends, in the earlier classes also, I have given you a little meaning of democracy. So what is democracy? In the simplest sense, democracy means the rule of people. Means where people rules. Democracy means where people make their laws. Okay, so democracy means where people make laws for themselves. Okay, people take decisions for themselves. Okay, so democracy means when there is not the rule of any single ruler. Democracy means when there is not the rule of any single ruler. When all the people of the country, all the people living inside the country makes law for themselves. Okay, so what is democracy? So democracy is that form of government. Democracy is that form of government when people make law for themselves, where people take decision for themselves. Or in the simplest meaning, democracy is the rule of people. Now friends, I have told you that there can be two forms of democracy, direct democracy or indirect democracy. So what happens in any direct democracy? That in any direct democracy, people make law for themselves. Okay, so what happens that on a particular day, all the people of the country assembles, then they discuss and deliberate, and then they make laws for themselves. They take decisions for themselves. But friends, for example, India is a very big country. America is a very big country. The population of India is 130 crores. So it is not practically possible that 130 crores people will assemble at one place and then they will discuss and they will make laws. So what happens in big countries that they follow indirect democracy. So what happens in any indirect democracy that people choose their representatives by giving them vote, and then these representatives of the people make laws for the people, and that's why it is also known as representative democracy. Now friends, democracy requires that the voice of everybody be heard and be made the part of decision making. Now what does it mean? So for example, I have told you that what is democracy? Democracy is the rule of people. What happens in any indirect democracy? That people choose their representatives. Then these representatives rule for people. Means they make laws for people. So in democracy, in actual sense, democracy is the rule of people. So it is a necessary condition that the voice of every person of the country be heard. Okay, even the voice of the beggar of the country should be heard. So the voice of every person of the country should be heard, and the voice of no one should be suppressed. Okay, so in any democracy, it is a very necessary condition that the voice of even a single person of the country should be heard, and the voice of all the persons of the country should become the part of decision making. Okay, so the voice of all the persons living inside the territory of the country means the voice of all the citizens of the country should become the part of decision making. Means it should reflect in the laws of the country. Means the wishes of the people should reflect in the laws of the country. Now how it is possible? Okay, how it will be done? So friends, democracy will be strong if representatives of people consult with people about their wishes. Okay, so now the question arises that how the voice of people will be heard, how the wishes of people will be made the part of decision making or laws. So it is only possible when the representatives, why? Because who are making the law? Representatives are making the law. So when representatives will consult with the people, when representative will consult with the voters, that what do you want? What are your problems? What are the wishes? What do you want from the government? What policies should be implemented? What is your opinion? What are your wishes? Okay, so it is the duty of the representative to consult with the people that what type of laws do you want? What are your problems? What do you want us to do for you? Okay, so it is the duty of the representative to consult with the people about their wish. Now friends, it is the duty of the people to give such advices, to give such opinion which are in their interest as well as in the interest of society and country. Okay, so people should not give any vulgar type of opinion that, for example, youngsters may demand a beautiful girl to marry. Okay, but this is not the duty of government. So you should not talk any vulgar thing to your representatives. You should only give those opinions which are for your interest as well as for the interest of society. For example, you can say that, sir, the administration of hospital is bad. Doctors are not listening to people. So please remove this doctor and recruit any other doctor in his place. Okay, there are very less equipments in the hospital. There are very less medicines in the hospital. So please say to the government that please increase the number of medicines. Please increase the supply of medicines in the hospital. So you should give those advices which are in your interest as well as which are in the interest of your country. So it is your duty because it is your rule, because it is democracy. Now friends, a responsible media helps people to communicate their wish to the government and strengthens democracy. Now what does it mean? So I have told you in the previous lectures also that media is the fourth pillar of the government. So it is the duty of the media. What is the main role of the media? The main role of the media is to communicate the wishes and the demands of people to the government and to tell the people about the shortcomings and works of the government. Okay, so what is the role of the media? The first role of the media is to communicate to the government that what people wants, what are the wishes of the people. And the second role of the media is to tell people about the works of the government, about the good works of the government, about the bad works of the government. Okay, so that people can know, so that people can come to know that what government is actually doing. So what is media? Media is mediator between people and the government. That's why it get the name media. Why? Because it is a mediator between people and the government. Okay, so if media will do its work properly, okay, then government will be responsible. Why? Because government will come to know that what are the wishes of people, and people will come to know whether government is doing anything wrong or not. And if government will do anything wrong, then people can punish the government in the next election. So government will not do anything wrong and democracy will be strong. So role of media is very, very important in any democracy. And you all know what is the current situation of media nowadays. Okay, so but media should be responsible. Now friends, what are threats to democracy? Means which are the things which are not good for democracy, which are the things which can dilute democracy, which can kill democracy. So first of all, illiterate population. So in India, first of all, we has a huge population, and secondly, this population is illiterate. So illiterate population means people who are not educated, they are uneducated, they are illiterate. Okay, so what is drawback? For example, if government has introduced any bill, now you don't know what is the definition of the bill, then how can you oppose or support the government? So people should be literate. People should know that what are the good policies of the government and what are the bad policies of the government. Is government going good or government doing bad? Okay. So friends, what happens in India, that most of the people go to schools and colleges just to take job. Because they want job, they study. They do not study because they want education. Education is very, very important in the life of a human being. Education actually makes you the man. Otherwise, we all are animals. So education is the thing which differentiates a man from the animal. So education teaches you how to behave. Education teaches you what are the moral values of the life. Education teaches you how to become a man. Okay, so I suggest you all to not to study for any job. I suggest you all to study to become a man, to study to become a human being. Okay, so education is very, very important. Education can change your life. Education can make you feel complete. Okay, so education is very important. So please take education not to get any job. Take education to become a human being. So the main problem in India is that people are uneducated. So because people are uneducated, they don't know what is good and what is bad. People don't know what are the good works of the government and what are the bad works of the government. People don't know what is the meaning of the bill. They don't know what is the meaning of the act. Then how can they oppose or support any decision of the government? So the first threat to the democracy is illiterate population. Now the second threat to the democracy is irresponsible representatives. Irresponsible representative means when your leaders are corrupt. Okay, they will do false promises with you. Suppose they are saying that after our government will come, we will construct road for you. We will get the road constructed for you. But after the election, after winning the election, they will forget you. Okay. So irresponsible representative means representatives are not thinking of people. Representatives are only thinking of themselves. They want to earn money. They are doing corruption. They are doing all the bad practices. They are doing all the evil practices, and they are earning money by any means. And they are even sacrificing the interest of the people. So if representatives are irresponsible, then it is a problem to the democracy. Okay, why? Because it is the representatives who will form the government. So if representatives are irresponsible, so government will also be irresponsible. Now the third threat to the democracy is biased media. So what is biased media? Biased media means, suppose if media is biased to any one political party. Okay, suppose there are 4 political parties in a country. I will not take any name here. I will just give them ABCD names. So suppose there are 3 parties A, B, C. Okay, so there are 3 political parties A, B, C. Now suppose the media is biased toward the party B. Okay, and media do not like the party C. So okay, so now what media will do? Definitely party B will bribe the media, means party B will give money to media. So now what media will do? Even if party B will do anything wrong, then also media will show that party B is very good. Okay, and even when party C will do anything right, then also media will show that they are doing wrong. Okay, so what people will think? People will definitely think that definitely, sir, party B is good. So we will give vote to party B in the next election. So the role of media is very, very important in any democracy. Now the last but not the least is the parochial thinking. Parochial thinking means your thinking is very narrow. You are giving vote on the name of caste. You are even the candidate of your caste is not good. Even the candidate of any other caste is good. Then also you are only giving vote to your candidate, to that candidate because he belongs to your caste. You are giving vote to somebody because he belongs to your religion. Okay, you are supporting or opposing any decisions of the government according to these narrow thinkings. You are supporting any decision of government because it supports your language, it supports your community, it supports your caste. You will not think that whether this decision is in the support of nation or this is not in the interest of India. Okay, so parochial thinking is a biggest threat to the democracy. Means even when the people are thinking narrowly, when people are not thinking for the interest of India, then definitely you can imagine the situation. Now friends, then comes the word republic. So what is the meaning of the word republic? So republic is a political system where people are supreme. Okay, so what is republic? So republic is a political system where people are supreme. So definitely where there is the rule of people. Now there is no hereditary ruler. So the most important provision of the republic system is that there should be no hereditary ruler. So hereditary ruler means when the son of king becomes the king. Okay, so hereditary system means when the son of king becomes the king. So in any republic system there is no hereditary system, means son of king does not become the king. Okay, and even the head of the state is elected by the people for a fixed term. Okay, so the head of the state means the ruler of the state is also an elected person, means he is also elected by people for a fixed term. For example, we can see in India, who is the head of the state? The head of the state is president. So president is the head of the state. Now president is not a hereditary post, means the son of president will not become the president. Okay, so we elect our president. Okay, and we elect our president for a fixed term, means for 5 years. After 5 years he will be removed and next president will be elected. Okay, so this is a republic system, means when there is where people are supreme. Okay, where there is no hereditary ruler, where the head of the state is elected by people for a fixed term. So this is republic system. Now friends, in the previous lecture, in the last lecture, I have told you that by reading the first and the last line of our constitution by reading the first and the last line of our preamble means we the people of India do hereby enact, adopt and give to ourselves this constitution. So the meaning of this line is that the people of India empowered the constitution of India. People of India made the constitution of India. The source of all the powers of constitution are people. Okay, so the meaning of this line is that people have empowered the constitution. People have made the constitution. Now friends, this statement was challenged in Supreme Court. So the very statement that the people of India empowered the constitution was challenged in Supreme Court in Kahar Singh versus Union of India case 1989. Okay, so there was a legal case in Supreme Court, Kahar Singh versus Union of India case in year 1989, and in that case that statement was challenged. And what was the argument? The argument was that when constitution was made, okay, means what was the argument from the side of Kahar Singh, that when constitution was made, at that point of time I was not there. Even my father and my grandfather were not the part of Constituent Assembly. They did not make the constitution. Even my forefathers did not make the constitution. Okay. Similarly, my neighbor was not there when constitution was made. Even the father of neighbor was not present in the Constituent Assembly. Even the grandfather and the forefathers of my neighbor were not the part of Constituent Assembly. Okay, and similarly, the same situation is for my entire city and many other cities. So, what was his argument? That people of India has not made the Constitution of India. So he was saying that how can you say, sir, that people of India made the Constitution of India? My grandfather was not the part of Constituent Assembly. I was not the part of Constituent Assembly. My father was not the part of Constituent Assembly. And he was saying that even the members of Constituent Assembly did not ask that what are our wishes. They did not consult with us. Okay, so even the members of Constituent Assembly did not consult with us that what are our wishes. So how can you say that the people of India empowered the Constitution of India? Now friends, if you will say that, sir, the members of Constituent Assembly were the representatives of people of India. So now I will make you this situation very clear. So friends, in the previous lectures, I have told you that there were 299 members in the Constituent Assembly of India. Okay, and out of these 299 members, 284 members finally signed on the final draft of the constitution. Means we can say that constitution was actually made by 284 persons. Now these 284 persons who elected them, they were elected either by the members of provincial legislative assemblies, or they were nominated by the kings of princely state. Now first of all, we will talk about the people who were nominated by the kings of princely state. Okay, so princely state, so the kings of princely state nominated their representatives in the Constituent Assembly. So they were actually the representatives of the king. They were not the representatives of the people of that state. Okay, so first of all, people who were nominated by the kings, they were representative of the king. They were not chosen by the people of that state. Now come to provincial legislative assemblies. So what happened in provincial legislative assemblies, that some members were chosen from the members of provincial legislative assemblies. Some members were chosen by the members of provincial legislative assemblies. Okay, so who gave them vote? The members of provincial legislative assembly gave them vote. So first of all, it was an indirect election. Okay, so there were two types of members. On one hand, there were members who were nominated by the kings of princely state. So these members were the representative of the king. They were not the representative of the population of the state. On the other hand, there were people who were elected by the members of provincial legislative assemblies. Now these members were elected by the members of provincial legislative assemblies. They were not elected by the population of the state. So first of all, it is an indirect election. Okay, so it is indirect election. Why? Because they were not directly elected by the people. They were elected by the members of provincial legislative assemblies. And now how these members of provincial legislative assemblies were elected? So actually at that point of time, the voting right was given to a very limited number of people. Okay, so who gave vote to the members of provincial legislative assemblies? Very less number of people who qualify certain qualifications, who were eligible to vote. Only very less number of people gave vote to the members of provincial legislative assemblies. Okay, so first of all, the members of provincial legislative assemblies were also not the true representatives of the people of India. Why? Because they were chosen by a very limited number of people. The voting right was given to a very limited number of people. Okay, so what was the basis of voting right? Education, property, taxation. Okay, so these were the basis of voting rights. So first of all, the members of provincial legislative assemblies were also not the true representatives of the people of India. And secondly, the members of constituent assemblies were chosen by these members of provincial legislative assemblies. So how can they be the true representatives of the people of India? So this was the question asked by Kahar Singh in the Kahar Singh versus Union of India case 1989. So he said that this statement is false, that Constitution of India is empowered by the people of India. Now what court did? So actually court said that this statement is a legal fiction but a conclusive assumption which cannot be challenged and tested in any court of law. Now what does it mean? So it means that Supreme Court said, okay, you are saying right. This is not a true statement. This is not a true statement that all the people of India empowered the Constitution of India, because first of all, the members from princely states were only the representatives of the king, and secondly, the members chosen by the members of provincial legislative assemblies were also not the true representatives of people. Why? Because first of all, they were elected indirectly through the members of provincial legislative assemblies, and even the members of provincial legislative assemblies were not the true representatives of the people of India, because they were chosen by a very limited number of people. So Supreme Court said that okay, you are saying right. This is a legal fiction. So fiction is something which is not real. Fiction is something which is imaginary. So Supreme Court said, okay sir, Supreme Court said, okay, this is not, this is, you are saying correct. Okay, Supreme Court said you are saying correct, this is a legal fiction. So legal fiction means something which is imaginary, something which is not correct, something which is fictitious or imaginary. But court said that this is a conclusive assumption. So conclusive assumption means it has a very deep meaning. Conclusive assumption means it is very important for India. Why? Because because constitution is actually the base of India. Without constitution, how India will survive? Constitution establishes the government. Constitution has given the power to legislature. Constitution has given the power to executive. And the same constitution has given the power to judiciary. The same constitution has given all the powers to Supreme Court. And how then the Supreme Court can declare it null and void? So Supreme Court has no power to declare the constitution null and void, because who is the source of the powers of Supreme Court? So constitution is the final source of all the powers of Supreme Court. Okay, constitution is the one which gives all the powers to Supreme Court. So Supreme Court is actually subordinate to constitution. Supreme Court is not above constitution. So if you are subordinate to something, then how can you declare it invalid or null and void? So Supreme Court said that this statement is a conclusive assumption. Means this is very, very important for India, because entire India is based on the constitution. Constitution is the fundamental law of India. So this statement cannot be challenged and tested in any court of law. Court do not have the power to test the constitution of India. Court do not have the power to challenge this statement. Okay, so this is outside the jurisdiction of Supreme Court. So court said, okay, I agree that this is a fiction, this is a imaginary sentence, but then also it is very, very important for India. It is a conclusive assumption. Means this assumption is very, very conclusive. Okay, this is very, very important for India. Without the constitution of India, how the India will survive? Constitution has given all the powers to me also. Then how can I declare it null and void? So court said that from now onwards, this statement cannot be challenged and tested in any court of law. Means any legal case cannot be filed against this statement. Now friends, then the question arises that is preamble a part of constitution? Okay, so traditional view was that preamble was not a part of constitution. Okay, so traditionally it was thought that preamble is not a part of constitution. Preamble is different and constitution is different. Preamble is separate and constitution is separate. Why? Because even if preamble was to be dropped from the constitution would continue to function. So I have told you that preamble is a decorative or ornamental part of the constitution. For example, there is a flower pot in your house. So flower pot is a decorative part of the house. So suppose if you throw this flower pot out of the house, then also your house will continue to function, because it was just a decorative item. Similarly, preamble is the decorative item. So even if you will throw this preamble out of the constitution, then also constitution will continue to function. That's why, so this is the first reason why preamble is not a part of the constitution. The second reason was that preamble does not confer nor it limits the powers of the government. So I have told you in the previous lecture that preamble do not give any power. Preamble does not give any power to executive, legislature or judiciary. And similarly, preamble does not limit any power of executive, legislature and judiciary. So actually preamble is doing nothing. So even if you will drop the preamble from the constitution, then also constitution would continue to function. So what was the view? That preamble is not the part of constitution. But friends, so what happened? The Supreme Court in Re-Beruberi case 1960 that held that preamble is not the part of constitution. So Supreme Court gave this decision in Re-Beruberi case 1960. But friends, what happened? That however, Supreme Court overruled its decision in Keshwanand Bharti versus State of Kerala case 1773. So what happened? In 1773, a new case came, and the name of that case was Keshwanand Bharti versus State of Kerala. And in that case, Supreme Court overruled, means overrided its previous decision. And what Supreme Court said? Supreme Court said that preamble is indeed a part of the constitution. Means preamble is a part of the constitution. Because only if preamble is considered a part of the constitution, then only it can be amended to keep it updated with the modern day constitution and societal philosophy. Okay, so preamble is considered a part of the constitution, then only it can be amended to keep it updated with modern day constitution and societal philosophy. Now what does it mean? So I have told you that Article 368. So what is Article 368? So according to Article 368, Parliament has the power to amend the Constitution, and Article 368 also gives the procedure to amend the Constitution. Okay, so according to the language of Article 368, only Constitution can be amended. So Supreme Court was saying that if preamble is not a part of Constitution, then how can you amend it? By using Article 368. Okay, if preamble is outside the Constitution, if preamble is not the part of Constitution, then how can Parliament amend it? And amendment is very, very important in the preamble. Why? Because what is preamble? Preamble is the summary of the Constitution. Preamble is the essence of the Constitution. Okay, so amendment is very, very important in preamble. Why? Because with the changing time, amendments were happening in our Constitution. Okay, why? Because some laws are outdated as the time passes. Okay, so we have to keep our Constitution updated with time. So with time we have to do certain amendments in the Constitution. So you are doing amendments in the Constitution, but you are not doing amendments in the preamble. So Constitution will say something else and preamble will say something else. So now preamble will not give the correct summary of the Constitution, and then the very purpose of the preamble will end. Okay, so according to the Supreme Court of India, you are doing amendment in the Constitution and again. Okay, but you are not doing amendment in the preamble. Okay, so Constitution will say something else. Why? Because the laws in the Constitution have changed, but preamble will say something else. Why? Because laws in the preamble or the provisions in the preambles are previous one. Okay, so if you want that preamble should give the correct summary of the Constitution, if you want that preamble should give the correct essence of the Constitution, then you have to amend the preamble also. You have to amend the preamble also to keep it updated with the Constitution, so that preamble can also keep it updated according to the Constitution, so that preamble can give correct summary or correct essence of the Constitution. And if you want to do amendment in the preamble, then you can only do amendment in the preamble according to Article 368. Okay, and you can only do amendment in the preamble when preamble is the part of the Constitution. So amendment in the preamble is necessary because Constitution is changing due to amendments. So amendment is also necessary in the preamble, so that preamble shows the correct summary or essence of the Constitution. Okay, and preamble can only be done in the amendment can only be done in the preamble when preamble is the part of the Constitution. So Supreme Court concluded that preamble is a part of the Constitution. So from now, if someone asks you, or if there is any question in the exam that is preamble is a part of Constitution, so you can say yes, preamble is a part of Constitution. Supreme Court declared it in Keshavanand Bharati versus State of Kerala case 1773. So friends, when Supreme Court declared that preamble is a part of Constitution and amendments are necessary as well as possible in the preamble, then came 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976. So what happened in 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976? 3 words were added to the preamble: socialist, secular or integrity. Okay, so in the original preamble, there was no socialist, secular word and there was no integrity word. So socialist, secular and integrity, these words were added by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. Okay, so that our preamble can show the correct summary of the Constitution. Why? Because India was becoming more and more secular day by day. India was becoming more and more socialist day by day. Okay, and it was very important to maintain the integrity of India, because at that point of time there was a tendency of secessionism in the states of India. For example, the Khalistan movement which happened in Punjab. Okay, so Prime Minister of the country has to be given more powers to suppress and control these type of secessionisms. So now I have told you what is the meaning of socialist. I have also already told you what is the meaning of secular. So socialist word was added so that because India was becoming more and more socialist, because Prime Minister has to make India socialist. Secular word was added because India was becoming more and more secular. Okay, Prime Minister wanted to make India a more secular country. Now what is the meaning of integrity and why integrity word was added? So friends, there are 2 words in our preamble: unity and integrity of India. So what is unity? So unity means when the people of 2 different religions, communities, sect, when they come together. So it is unity. So unity means when the people of two different communities come together. And what is integrity? Integrity means when you ensure that now they will not go apart. Okay. So once they have come together, so integrity means now you ensure that now they will not go apart. So this is integrity. So adding integrity word was also very, very necessary because Prime Minister has to be provided with more powers. Why? Because there was a tendency of secessionism in many states of India. For example, Punjab. So there was a tendency in Punjab. So there was a Khalistan movement in Punjab, and many leaders of Punjab, I will not say all the people, but many leaders of Punjab wanted a separate state named as Khalistan. Okay, so Prime Minister has to be provided with more powers to maintain the integrity of India. To suppress all the movements. That's why the integrity word was added in the preamble of our constitution. So friends, now the topic of preamble is completed. In the next class, we will continue our discussion with a fresh topic. I have uploaded the link of notes in the description of video. You can also directly download the link from my blog prashant-ias.blogspot.com. prashant-ias.blogspot.com. Okay, and you can also follow me on Instagram. My ID is prashantias7. So friends, if you have enjoyed the lecture, please like the video, use the comment section to give your feedback, share this video, and inform at least 10 people about this channel so that they can also get benefit out of this course. Till then, take care of yourself. Thank you.